you know this film actually was better than the Beauty and the Beast live action remake? No, I'm not kidding. I prefer this than this. That's saying something. Hey folks, it's nighttime and today I just saw Aladdin, the live action 2019 remake of the year of all the Disney remakes, plus the live action Disney remake sequel. That's saying something here. Before I even talk about my thoughts on the film, I gotta discuss more of what originally happened with this film. More importantly, oh god, people were very wondering about this film. Mainly, by wondering meaning why did this film need to exist? More importantly, we started the golden age of live-action Disney remakes. More importantly, this is the year we got 3. No, the 4th is The Maleficent Mistress of Evil, but that's a sequel, so I don't really count that. But with this one, this was one where we had 3 films that people were mixed about. Dumbo came out earlier this year, and I had no interest to see it, especially because they had more focus on the humans than Dumbo, from what I gathered from the trailers. And guess what? That's what happened! And then you have Aladdin, which it's based off the Love Classic, and yeah, this is where I have to talk about the animated film. Aladdin was originally an animated film from the golden age of the Disney Renaissance, released in 1992. It's a wonderful animated film that follows the story of Aladdin, who goes from rags to riches when he comes across the genie, voiced by Robin Williams, one of his most iconic roles that's of all time. And I've even talked about this in my animation video for how Robin Williams has always tributed to that of Disney animation in the industry. But for this one, this was more interesting to say the very least how it was handled. For one thing, they announced this film at D23 Expo a couple years back, saying, hey, this is gonna be here. Will Smith is gonna be the genie, and this is going to happen. And I kind of went, what? I'm like, everyone was hesitant. I was hesitant, and I'm like, if they play the way of how the Broadway show is, then I'm okay with it. Luckily enough, there are different adaptations of Aladdin as we speak of. There was the Aladdin animated film. There's the spin-offs of the sequels. Ironically, Aladdin was the first direct-to-video sequel with Return of Jafar and then King of Thieves, and also the Aladdin TV show, which was super good, by the way. Along with that, there was also the Disney's California Adventure, Aladdin Musical Spectacular, which had outdated pop culture references at the time, and I really didn't think it was interesting. It wasn't until the final weeks ending to the last showing, right before it was going to turn into Frozen, the musical. I think I went to one when I visited California, and it was the best one I've ever been. You could tell so much passion was in. They were going to miss doing this. And also, Genie had the best material I've ever seen since the last time I saw it, so I give props to that. That was wonderful. There's also the Aladdin on Broadway, which is also mostly iconic as well for updated songs, and having Jonathan Freeman, who was the voice of Jafar, come back to reprise as Jafar and get his own song and just go, wow. Awesome. And also had Tim Rice come back to do some songs, which is also super cool as well. He even came back to do some of the songs in the live action Aladdin film, which I'm okay with that because it's Tim Rice's music and some of Tim Rice's songs is super good. Though of course a lot of people were hesitant on this movie. More importantly, just how it was. They were very hesitant with the teaser, mainly of the poster of the Aladdin's lamp. It was kind of more the same they were doing for the rose in Beauty and the Beast or the glass slipper. They were like teasing these little pieces that would later show the other posters and go from there. And then later on there was the teaser, which interesting, mysterious, but also needed a lot of color saturation. There was so much blues, and then there was bright colors and no blues, and I'm like, tone down the blues a bit. I know you're trying to animate the animation style, but tone the blues down. And things were looking good. We were like, wait, where's the genie? Genie has yet to appear. Then this happened.
None of that ringing a bell.
Yeah, this was a part where people went, oh dear God, this is horrifying, I can't eat, this should not be. And they're kind of right, but more importantly, this is how it is for post-production, when they're trying to fix the kinks of some stuff, and some things are not going to be finalized until the final film is released of it. This is more as a prominent example of when Sonic the Hedgehog was released for the teaser trailer, and everyone hated it because they were teasing up the design for Sonic for months, and everyone hated those tease designs. And then when it was shown, everyone hated it. That the director had to push the movie back to next year to do the changes, even though they should have done the changes when they were releasing the teasers for the posters. That's just me. But with Genie in this, yes, he is uncanny the way he moves and the way the head doesn't move like. It's how animation is. But this caused a huge entire meme of Genie, mainly of Genie pointing this way. Just that cheeky Will Smith grin and him pointing. More importantly, it became a JoJo meme. I'm not kidding. It's Jotaro's stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3. No, it's not like I've actually watched JoJo. What are you talking about, Casey? I tried to do a JoJo pose. It did not work. Though, of course, as for myself, I was just hesitant with this film. I was cautiously optimistic. This is how I view the live action films nowadays, is I'm cautiously optimistic until they release the final trailer and it decides whether or not I'm going to go see this. For demo, yeah, I was going to say it when I did the second trailer. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be focused more on humans instead of demo. Demo's just going to be a MacGuffin to drive the plot. No thank you. Aladdin, it's making it interesting. I'm actually excited for the Lion King film, especially because you got the director who did the Jungle Book remake, and I hear that's super good. Yes, I still haven't seen that. I feel so bad as a Disney fan. When they released the final trailer, they actually showed more of the Genie and actually showed more stuff, bright colors, Bollywood dancing. It felt alive, and I loved the design. I feel like this would be interesting. And given the fact they didn't even show any of the songs, they teased a bit of Friend Like Me, but I'm like, okay, cool. Then they tried releasing a clip from Good Morning America's Twitter about the part of Prince Ali. I'm like, I only heard Will Smith go, Prince Ali. I'm like, no. Stop you right there. I'm going to listen to it in the movie. Because that's how it was with Mary Poppins Returns. I kind of listened to the songs when they were going on screen in the theater for the first time, and you already know my reaction to that. This is a film I was so hesitant in seeing because this was a film that was part of my childhood for like the Aladdin TV show. This is a film I was more hesitant in seeing, mainly for the role of Genie. I kind of went in knowing everyone has their own adaptation of this. I kind of thought of it as a Broadway musical because I felt like they were going to be inspired by it, and they were when I get to that, because oh dear God, it blew my mind for that parts of it. But I was more hesitant with how Will Smith was going to be the Genie because sometimes you can't top Robin Williams' role. I had discussions with my friends that there's no way to really recreate this film. It was my piece of my childhood. It helped me do animation like that for my friends. For me, I can see their points. And also, it's hard to really break away from Robin Williams' most iconic role. You can't really erase that from history, but you can also have different adaptations of Genie. It's why I mentioned like the Genie from DCA, the Genie from Broadway. There are two different adaptations of Genie from the animated film, so it is possible to have these actors do their own interpretation of Genie and make it their own. Will Smith, I feel like, would make it his own, but I wanted to make sure he did it because, especially the one thing that was also hesitant is the pop culture references. In the original Aladdin film, there were some pop culture references that flew out over my head as a kid, and I never got it. Like I think there was like a couple. I can't remember what Genie did, but I never got them as a kid. Knowing that Will Smith may not do impressions, but doing his own style is going to make it something different and unique, and that's how I hope for. Now with that all the way, I'm going to now talk about the film. So, let's begin. We start the film off on a small little mariner boat with with two little kids and their father, who is Will Smith. Yeah, you know exactly where I'm going here. It's basically their own take on the peddler scene in Aladdin, but this one's done more differently. This one is Will Smith telling the story of Aladdin to his kids. It's how a street rat, a princess, and a genie were together in the story. And I kind of like that because it gives a story, a narrative to go with the children. Also, Will Smith singing Arabian Nights. I liked it. It was great. I loved how it flowed through the story of showing the different characters. I loved the way Agrabah was. I loved how they were filming a lot of it. Dear God, Raja the tiger. Oh my god, I wanna pet his head. He's so fluffy. He's a fluffy tiger and I love him. I wanna just pet him. I feel like he will love good squishes. And Iago, oh my god. Voiced by Alan Tudyk, by the way, who is known for lately doing animal impressions. Like, he did a great job as Iago, being like a normal parrot. Like, Iago in the original film talked constantly because it was Gilbert Gottfried. This time, however, Iago still repeated some words, but still had him on his own, which is still kind of terrifying. Like, I think there was like one moment that Alan Tudyk's Iago wanted the character to die. I'm like, oh dear God, that's not a fun thing to do. See, like, Abu doing helping Aladdin steal. The Sultan and Jasmine are in the palace. It has Jafar doing the Cave of Wonders, then setting a thief in, and they get crushed by debris. And I'm like, oh well, Jafar already has a death toll already. And it's interesting, to say the very least, how it is. And we also see in the film that Aladdin's mostly a con artist, a thief. He still does his thing. Also, he does hardcore parkour. A lot of parkouring in this film, which is fine by me. I've actually been kind of more interested in parkouring as the years have gone by, especially from seeing the Assassin's Creed trailer and how they got parkour art, like stuntmen to do it. Like, parkour has become a nice, interesting thing to use in films, and I liked how it was done here because it makes sense for Aladdin to use. And he is, of course, still Aladdin. He steals for himself, but he also still gives the food to others. Though they don't chase him after a loaf of bread, which is funny because in this version, they actually have managed to change a later scene of Jasmine in the marketplace to the beginning, where Jasmine gives 2 pieces of bread to children, and the market guy's like, are you gonna pay for that? And Aladdin saves her by offering a bracelet that's off her wrist, and she doesn't want to, but he does a sleight of hand, takes the bracelet, and then we enter into One Jump Ahead, which is cross between Aladdin trying to get away and him interacting with Jasmine, and it was nice interactions and a lot of interesting stunt work, and I liked how they were playing a lot of the stuff, and it was neat, and it was interesting, to say the very least. We then, after the song, we get to Aladdin's hideout. He brings Jasmine, who she says she is a handmaiden at the palace. Aladdin already knew that she was from the palace, doesn't know that she's the princess because of her clothing and also the bracelet she wore. They do bond just like they do in the anime film, and when she sees a visiting princess caravan, she has to leave, and right before she leaves, he tries to give her her bracelet back that belonged to her dead mother, but apparently he can't find it, and she just calls him a common thief, and he goes back to his place and learns that Abu took it. Because, damn it, Abu, that's not the right... Like Aladdin says, there's a right time and a wrong time. That was a wrong time. Poor Abu. I also like that it was Frank Welker voicing Abu again. There's like a full circle of a couple voice actors from Aladdin coming back for this. Frank Welker's one of them. You can't replace Frank Welker. He was Abu in that, so I'm happy he was Abu in this. And you could tell he has improved so much with doing impressions on monkeys. Like, he did a great job with this one. So Aladdin has the bracelet. He has to figure out some way to give it back. He sneaks into the palace, but before that, we finally get to see Jasmine in her princess garb, and it's actually pretty neat to see, like, a lot of the costumes are great in this. I love the costumes in this. They're so nicely detailed. They relate to the culture. It's wonderful. And then you see one of the princes from Into the Woods as a Russian prince, and I'm like, I'm like, I know that guy. He was from Into the Woods as Rapunzel's prince. That's all I remember him by. I'm so sad. I know he was in other stuff, but he tries to be I think the Prince Amand that was from the original. This time he's more of a goofy prince, and he thinks Raja's just a normal cat, but accidentally we don't know what happens to him. We just hear him trying to play taunt the cat. Raja doesn't like it, and they cut away to the palace, and you just hear a scream like, yeah, I think he got his butt bitten. I have no clue. They don't really say what happened, but I can just assume that Raja either bit his leg or just bit his hand. I can just assume, but mainly because like later he appears in another scene and then he's gone from the film. So that's it with that Prince character. He's just like, I'm here for 2 scenes and then I go. But we also get to see Jafar in the creepy dungeons as he's trying to find the diamond in the rough, which is, the Cave of Wonders is just in the wall. There's no golden scarab beetles this time, which is okay by me because it's something different. But I kind of wish there was like a golden scarab beetle like somewhere as a clue or a hidden Easter egg. But Jafar has been wanting the lamp to have power because he, as the Sultan tells him, he's always second best. And I am like, second best? Oh, it's like the second rate song in Return of Jafar. Oh, look at that. It comes a little full circle, and I kind of like that. Like, he makes Jafar more character because he wants power. He just wants to take over and conquer everything. Though also there was one part he decides to kill off one of his lackeys by literally doing a "This is Sparta" like push of them in the well. I'm like, this is Agrabah, apparently. I was like, damn, Jafar already has a body count of 2 people, maybe more. We don't know. He said that he's buried bodies, so he has a high body count. Damn. Aladdin finds a way to sneak into the palace and returns Jasmine's bracelet and still thinks that she is a handmaiden. And then Jasmine's actual handmaiden, Dahlia, they try pretending, and then Aladdin realizes that she's the princess. And then there was a clever thing. He's like, I will meet me over in the courtyard, a full moon. And he takes a piece of her like hair clips, and I will bring this back to you. I'm like, Aladdin, you're just doing that so you could just meet with her. But you could tell they were actually having nice chemistry with that. And I thought, actually, the actors who play Aladdin and Jasmine were wonderful. I love them both. I actually loved them both in the roles. They were perfect. So it felt like you were seeing Aladdin and Jasmine on screen. I know people were mad that Aladdin wasn't shirtless and yeah, Jasmine didn't have her midriff, but they're kind of more going for the designs of Indian and Bollywood culture, so I kind of actually was okay with how they looked, especially because like later on there's a moment where Aladdin is in the snow and I'm like, I'm kind of grateful you have shoes and a shirt on because you would have had frostbite, damn it. As soon as Aladdin leaves Jasmine's room though, he gets captured by some of the royal guards who work underneath Jafar and brought to Jafar, who is not an old man. Jafar just tells Aladdin that, oh, Jasmine was two-timing you because she's actually the princess. As Aladdin's like, really? And then Jafar's like, I know who you are. You want to seek power. I can give that to you if you could help me. And also because I was just like you. Yeah, we learned that Jafar was like a common thief like Aladdin and rose up to power of the visor. So that's saying something. And so Aladdin goes to help Jafar get the lamp for the King of Wonders, and Jafar tells him, do not touch anything but the lamp. I just want the lamp. If you touch anything, something bad's gonna happen. How does Jafar know this? Probably because he might have read it somewhere. Maybe because he's been working years trying to find the Cave of Wonders, so I'm going by that logic. So they're in the Cave of Wonders, and there's actually, I feel like the actual treasure has like some type of pull, because there's even a moment where Aladdin almost takes it and Boo has to snap him out of it. I feel like there's like a curse on the actual treasure that's not the lamp trying to taunt in the actual people who do make it in to try and steal the treasure instead of the lamp. I feel like that's what's happening, and I actually kind of like that. It makes it more different. And then as they get into the Cave of Wonders, which I like this part, they show all the treasure because they also have a normal cave, there's no lighting, and the lamp's on the top. I'm like, okay, they combine those 2 rooms together. That makes it much easier. But as they go in, they come across the magic carpet who had a rock fell on it and has been trying to get out. So Aladdin saved its life. The magic carpet thanks him. And Aladdin goes all the way up to try to climb to the top with the lamp. As he does this, he almost like slips on a giant ruby, which coincidentally falls and lands in front of Abu, and starts spinning and hypnotizes Abu to pick it up. I'm like, oh, hey, that's the ruby from the film. Hey, that's funny. And I kind of like how it did that because Abu didn't want to like take it, but then the ruby hypnotizes Abu with the curse to have Abu pick it up and want to take it, just as Aladdin picks up the lamp. And then the Cave of Wonders is like, you have touched the treasure. You'll never again see the light of day. But there's a dude so over the top. I'm like, oh, I'm just like, no, I'll never again see the light of day. I wanted to be like that, but I'm like, that's fine. So there's Aladdin and Abu trying to get out of the collapsing Cave of Wonders with the lava, and they get to Jafar, and he's like, hand me your hand, just give me the lamp. He's like, he gives him the lamp, and then he's like, all right, your hand. Is like, how about my foot? And then it starts, like, actually hits and pounds Aladdin falling, and while Abu, like, tries, like, distracting Jafar and takes the lamp, and then as soon as Jafar gets out, the Cave of Wonders is completely sealed, and then he looks and realizes the lamp's not there, and he goes like, no! And I had to laugh. I'm like, your no is funny. It was funny. When you go into the theater and you see the actor who does Jafar for doing that no after the Cave of Wonders scene, you're gonna laugh too, because I chuckled a bit, because I'm like, hey, you got a lamp stolen from you by a monkey. So Aladdin, the Magic Carpet, and Abu are trapped in the Cave of Wonders, which the lava has quickly, like solidified, which is surprising, because it's lava. And they don't know what to do. They have to figure out a way. And the Magic Carpet points to the lamp and tells Aladdin, hey, use this to get out. And so Aladdin rubs the lamp, and Will Smith's genie comes out. And I like how this is done. I kind of like how it first has him being serious, and then he's like, where's your boss, kid? He's like, what? I'm like, where is your boss? I'm usually like this, and he's like, oh, he's out there, he betrayed me. He's like, oh, okay, you're my master. And then they start building up the Friend Like Me song, and it starts off slow, and then it kind of builds up. And oh dear God, Friend Like Me is like a nice Broadway Las Vegas number. I'm not kidding. Like, I always wanted to see how they were going to do that. And because in the anime film, it's kind of like a Las Vegas show number. I do that and accidentally hit my desktop. But this is done in a Las Vegas Broadway style for everything happening. I'm like, oh my God, this is so freaking cool. I love the changes. I love how it is. I like Will Smith does a great job with Friend Like Me in his own interpretation, especially because they did change like a couple lyrics, especially because like he doesn't get Aladdin's name right ahead. So he's like, Mr. whatever your name is. I'm like, yeah. And then at the end of the song, he's like, Mr. And then I was like, Aladdin's like, okay. I'm like, yeah, you gotta just know his name at the end of the song. And it was great. This was actually a fun number. And actually, I think Will Smith actually handled doing the genie throughout this movie as his own. Some people kind of go for Will Smith's character as the Hitch from the film Hitch. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I can kind of see that. But I see this more as his own interpretation of Genie. Because trying to fill in the big shoes for a role can be tricky, but sometimes when you have actors who can do it, they can make it their own way, and Will Smith actually handled doing it his own way with this. And then at the end of the song, he tells them the rules, like, can't fall in love, no more wishes, can't bring people back from the dead. But here's the thing, they also add in where you have to actually hold the lamp and rub it while you're saying your wish. And so Aladdin is the first who is acted to get out by telling Genie his wish, but doesn't have the lamp in his hand. So they get out of the cave, and Genie's like, you have two wishes. No, there's 3. And he's like, really? Let's rewind the tape. And they actually rewind the footage, show audience, and did a breaking the fourth wall of a movie theater. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I actually loved that. It was great. And also makes it, and also realizing Genie knows that he's in a movie. Yay! So, they have like 3 wishes, and also they get themselves comfy out on a tent, and there's like a lot of stuff. Also, it's daytime, which meant that the sun rose right after Jafar and them left, or it's like a couple hours later, who knows. But also they kind of do explain why you don't see Blue Genie all the time. You do see Blue Genie, but you also see regular Will Smith without the blue. It's because like Aladdin's like, I'm gonna talk with you when you're not this. So Will Smith does a couple. This guy's totally settling on himself, and he's like, and Aladdin's like, you're gonna keep the ponytail, and like this Genie's like, it's my style. I'm like, oh wow, I love that even Aladdin pointed out how silly it is for him to have the little ponytail. Yeah! I was loving how they were doing that. I don't know if it was going to be jab or something that was improvised, but it felt like it was natural. And so they have a discussion, a few things happen, and then Aladdin makes his wish to become a prince, and there's like a nice like clothing montage of Genie trying to figure it out, and then the Prince Ali scene. I know that people were ragging on it. They were like, "Oh, this song, you could sped up the song. It doesn't look mesmerizing." Here's the thing, they did it like a Broadway Bollywood production number. I freaking loved it. I loved how it was. It was cool. It was interesting. I loved the design. It was amazing. And even when they were holding on to one note, because they were like, wait, look at the Sultan, and they're like, we're waiting on you, because you want to like go into the beat, and he starts like getting in, and they're like, yeah, and they finish off the song. Like, that's so cool. Also, yes, there is one moment that like in Aladdin, the Genie also dresses up in drag, which I'm like, this is not the first time Will Smith had to do that. I'm looking at you, the Wild Wild West, because that happened there. I can't remember if it happened in The Fresh Prince, but it happened there, so I kind of like they kept that. And he also had Genie riding on an ostrich. Because why not? But they go to meet the Sultan, and Aladdin screws up a lot. Mainly saying he's from Abra, which is not a real place. And also accidentally saying he wants to buy Jasmine. And he screws up so bad, even the Genie says it. And so he goes off. And then later there's a party. I will say during, in between, Jafar does still hypnotize people with his staff. Still don't know how. Maybe because he knows maybe a little bit of magic with the staff. But he's been trying to actually hypnotize the Sultan to try and take over places that they're have allies with. To just be like, try and take over and conquer, to make Agrabah more powerful, which is crazy. I'm like, why would you take over your allies? That makes no logical sense. But it's Jafar. He wants more power. There's the party scene where Genie's trying to get Aladdin to be himself, and then Genie notices Jasmine's handmaiden. And so recently enough, I haven't mentioned Jasmine's handmaiden. Her name is Dahlia, and just like Jasmine, she has not been out of the palace in a long time. Like, she is like innocent person. She's like, can you teach me? I'm like, oh my god, you sweet person. Oh my god. She was a sweet character though. I like that. And then they show the party, and it's a Bollywood dance moment because Genie actually helps Aladdin dance because Aladdin does not know how to dance. So Genie intervenes, and they do well. And then Genie kind of goes overboard by literally inventing hip hop dancing. I'm not kidding you. Genie invented hip hop dancing. Thank you. Though of course there's later like Genie's like, I think you did good. I think that's the best you're ever gonna dance. I'm like, oh, you say, oh, Genie. There's a moment where Aladdin just wants to get with Jasmine just to make up the mistakes and just be himself. So he's like, okay, I need you to get I need Jasmine alone. Hey, can you distract the handmaiden? And she's like, oh, okay. And he tries, and he's nervous too. And Delilah's nervous, and they're both nervous. And I'm like, oh, this is actually sweet. And so Dahlia goes up with the Genie to have their nice stroll, and it's so cute. And then Aladdin comes in Jasmine's room from the balcony, like from the first film, and she's like, I have been trying to find your country. I have yet to find your country on any of the maps. And Aladdin tries to get Genie's help, and this is a funny moment. There's a little cartoon Genie on the map, and literally starts making the land. It's Disneyland. I'm not kidding. There's a Fantasyland, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Frontierland. It's Disneyland, and he just goes, just be yourself. And then Genie just makes the Barbara an actual place. And Aladdin and Jasmine have their talk. And then they enter into a whole new world, which surprisingly they don't go all around the world. They just go through all of Agrabah and India, which I actually thought that was better. Because there's no way they would be able to go through the whole entire world in the song. That was always the one thing I always thought was strange in the animated film, was how could he go through the whole entire world in a short time with the song? The magic carpet can't be that fast. But I liked how they did it here, and it was a great song. I know there was a couple moments the blue screen were showing, but I actually liked it. It was a nice number, and you could feel for the actors with the singing together. It was great. And then it got to a part where, of course, Jasmine says one thing, and yeah, she learns that Aladdin is Prince Ali is Aladdin, and of course they have their thing, but they do well. And then there's a nice added moment where they Aladdin goes to the guest room, and Jasmine is on the bed with her handmaid and talk about it, and Genie's like, you know, you have to tell her the truth, right? That you're not a prince. And Aladdin's like, I'll get to it, and I get to it. And then the next day, Jafar captures Aladdin because he knows he's Aladdin, and he wants to know where the lamp is. So he has Aladdin tied up on his in his room, on a chair, and he says, "You are gonna tell me the lamp. If you are a prince, you're gonna die. If you're Aladdin, and you use the lamp, then I will still kill you, and you give me the lamp." But Aladdin doesn't do that, so Jafar just pushes Aladdin tied up on the chair into the ocean, and Abu and the magic carpet actually race to get the magic lamp to Aladdin to save him. I kind of like that. It was teamwork. The lamp wasn't just on Aladdin on the first place. So they get there. Aladdin's trying to rub the lamp in the water, but he loses consciousness. Genie comes out, and he's trying hard because he's like, you gotta rub the lamp, kid, and say your wish. And he's like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to break my rules, but this is gonna count as a wish. So he has him literally, while he's unconscious, because Aladdin wanted to get out, so he signed the contract, makes him rub the lamp, rub the lamp. I cannot talk today. And they has Genie rescue him and use the second wish. And then, of course, it has Aladdin revealed to Jasmine that Jafar has been lying to them and wants to do this stuff. And Jafar tries to hypnotize the Sultan to do his bidding. But then Aladdin sees through it, takes Jafar's staff, and the slow motion destroys it. There's actually a few moments of slow motion towards later in the film, I noticed. There's I think 3 to 4 slow motion moments. They're used well. At least they're not constantly, so that's saying something. So instead of disappearing, the Sultan has Jafar locked in the dungeon, but then Iago has the key and just frees Jafar out. Like you do. But the Sultan thanks Aladdin, and Aladdin realizes that he still needs the genie around, so he can't use his final wish. But also Genie is like, you know, you can't just keep lying. You're going to let the power of you trying to be a prince consume you. That's not right. It's more kind of paralleling to Jafar, how he wants power by taking over Jafar. Aladdin wants to still be a prince by having the prince power and keeping that there. But it's not going to work that way because it's going to backfire. Aladdin goes to his hideout, his home, and while he's getting there, he has the lamp with him. Jafar, in a moment, swipes the lamp out from Aladdin's nose as a normal, civilian, and takes the lamp for himself. And then he goes to the palace and then wishes for the genie to make him a sultan. And he thinks he has the guards under it, but there's a moment. There's actually one original song in here that has a reprise, and then the actual song called Speechless, which is sung by Jasmine. Throughout the film, Jafar has been telling Jasmine that a woman should be just seen and not heard. This was actually used more not only for the times of that period, but it's still kind of going on today, that a woman should be seen and not heard. But I kind of like the song, especially because you could tell that Naomi Scott was putting so much passion into it. And there's a moment where time actually freezes still, and when she's moving, things the people are disappearing, and any item she touches it just slow-mo freezes. I'm like, okay, I'm being reminded of Into the Woods from this, of the Cinderella's on the steps of the palace where she's just frozen in time and deciding what to do while she's stuck on the tar. It reminded me of that, and it was a wonderful moment. And so right when you think she's going to be taken away by the guards, Jasmine turns around and actually talks to the head royal guard. I can't remember his name. She tells him, where do your royalty stand? Do you stand with this guy who just used a wish to become a sultan? Or someone you've been actually devoted your life who helps you? And your father? Who do you stand with? And the guard's like, we're gonna stand with him! Screw you, Jafar! You're not a real sultan! And they're going to try and release, not release, you could try and go into, arrest Jafar, and Jafar's like, you won't bow to me as a sultan, then you will kill before a sorcerer. And he released his second wish to become a sorcerer. Surprisingly, there is one snake that appears instead of Jafar turning into a snake, which he doesn't do in this movie. A cobra snake comes up and becomes the new staff. I'm like, oh, that is creepy. And Jafar gains his powers, and he's a sorcerer. He reveals that Prince Ali's just been Aladdin all along, and banishes him to a snowy plain to die. And it's just crazy. And then, but luckily enough, Genie can bend the rules because he's like, I really don't like this guy, so So he bends the rules to send the magic carpet to save Aladdin and Abu. Then there's a moment where Jafar tries to have the Sultan killed by all the pain, saying that he was always second best. That he'll show him, until Jasmine says that, like, to have him stop it. And he's like, oh, I'll stop it if you agree to marry me. And she's like, yes. I'm like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. And I'm going to take this necklace off because it's actually starting to itch. After Aladdin and Abu get on the magic carpet, we cut to the wedding because Jafar's a sorcerer, so he can do that shit. So they cut to the wedding, they're doing the I-do's, and then Jasmine sees Aladdin in the distance, and she also notices that Jafar has the lamp tied onto his belt. So when she goes closer trying to delay saying I do, she says, I don't, and then she takes the lamp, she runs to the side of the balcony, jumps off, and gets saved by Aladdin, who they try and do a keep away of the lamp away from Jafar. And as they're flying throughout Agrabah, Jafar turns Iago into a giant bird, like a menacing giant bird. The actual transformation, that was just, oh my god, that was terrifying. Seeing a giant parrot, like the size of a pterodactyl, just swooping in and trying to get the lamp. But in the process, I think because of I'm trying to remember how it is. Like they go play keep away with the lamp until Jafar's like, I know why. It's because the Sultan tries pushing Jafar off the edge of the balcony, but Jafar doesn't work. But his staff does. And Sultan's like, you're not even powerful without your staff. And then Jafar just reaches his hand, and his scepter comes back, and all of a sudden it becomes the mummy. I'm not kidding. There's a moment where Jafar uses his powers to summon a giant, tornado wind that just sucks and blows everything towards the direction of the palace. Like, the lamp comes back to him, Iago gets turned back into a small bird, but as Jasmine and Aladdin are coming back towards the palace, the carpet gets ripped and lost his life. Magic carpet, no! So, Jafar has the lamp again. He has frozen Delilah, the Sultan, and Jasmine in suspended animation. And he's like, I am more powerful than you'll ever be, and you're going to enjoy this. There's a moment where Aladdin realizes that, no, because the genie actually has been pointing at him like, he's not powerful. Yeah, brace. Still have the brace. I'm actually more powerful. And Aladdin tricks Jafar into wishing to become a genie by basically tricking him to become the most powerful being. Not a genie, but not saying a genie, which is funny. So Jafar has all this cosmic power, and he's about to destroy a country when the genie bracelets appear on him. And then Genie says, yeah, you have all that power, but without a master, you have to go back in your lamp. And so a new lamp forms. Jafar gets sucked in. New genie Jafar gets sucked in, takes Iago, and then just sucks back into the new lamp. Then Will Smith just takes the lamp. It's like, about 2,000 years, the Cave of Wonder will do. Tosses the lamp into the Cave of Wonders. Everything is fine. All of Jafar's spells have been undone. And Genie fixes the magic carpet, so the magic carpet's alive again. And then it gets to the part of the film where things are still the same, but kind of different. In this one, Aladdin does wish for the genie to be free. In this version, instead of just being a normal genie when you're free, you get turned into a human when you're free. It kind of parallels how Jafar became a genie by being wished, and it kind of now makes it as though, it's a human could wish to be something powerful like a genie and then become a genie. Oh, that's terrifying. But knowing they want to wish to be a human, if they want to, can be a possibility. They just won't have that magic anymore. So Will Smith is now a human, and he decides that he wants to take Jasmine's handmaiden Delilah, travel through the world to get to know each other and have a family and 2 kids and the boat. And it kind of circles back to the beginning of the film that, yeah, Will Smith is telling the story of how him and his mother met through Aladdin through Aladdin. And I'm like, it comes full circle. And this is the part of the film where people really hate, because they're like, Will Smith gets a love interest. This doesn't make sense. I don't like this. But I go, it makes sense to me. For me, personally, it would make the most logical sense. More importantly, because, yeah, this is not the first time Genie has had a love interest. I mean, have you guys not seen the TV series with Eden? I mean, she was so cool. Also, there's another Disney show that has also done this. DuckTales. Mainly the DuckTales reboot. There was a recent episode they did that was a remake of the Golden Magic Lamp, where they have the lamp and they are fighting over thinking the genie's still in there, and then the genie's not in there. And it turns out the guardian who wanted the lamp back, his ancestors were originally the lamp holder, the lamp master, and the genie, until she used her final wish to set the genie free. The genie became, I don't remember, like, because I think it was like duck or something. It's hard, or dog. The genie becomes a being, and they get together and marry after falling in love with each other. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Here, it does make a bit of sense, and yeah, there's like a short time, but I thought it was sweet. And also in this film, throughout the film, Jasmine has been wanting to be Sultan because she wants to help her country. But of course, her dad's like, you can't do this till you know what's right, and I can't unfortunately let you do that. And realizing how her strong bravery does, he passes down being the Sultan to her. So she is now Sultan Jasmine. And I think that's so cool. And then Aladdin goes off thinking that there's no way Jasmine can marry him because he's just a commoner, and there's the law of only a prince can marry a princess. But there's no law of marrying a sultan. So she goes out, and he gives her back her hairpiece. They kiss, and you cut to their wedding, and it's so sweet. There's fireworks, everything. There's a happy ending. It's the end, but not really. They kind of do a reprise a bit of A Friend Like Me through as some of the credits are playing, and it's like a cast call minus Jafar in a Bollywood style of them doing A Friend Like Me, and it's so much fun. You know they're having a lot of fun with this, and I'm like, okay, now this is like a Broadway show. They're doing a casting call. I like this. I really did enjoy this film. This was a film I really did enjoy. This actually was great. And yes, I do know about the controversy of the brown face stuff that was in pre-production. But they changed this pretty quickly. But overall, this film, I enjoyed this. This was a good remake. It actually handled some of the stuff that was in the anime film, improved on it, changed some stuff, and I actually think it works. I liked this. I might be called out on it, but I went in with good intentions, and I was cautiously optimistic. I enjoyed this film so much. Actually, this is like the first one out of 3 good Disney animated remakes so far for this year. But overall, I enjoyed this. If you know that there are some of you that are going to be so hesitant about this, just go in thinking that this is a Broadway musical adaptation. Because I feel like this is more of a Broadway musical adaptation than an animated one. Yeah, they're going to have their animated stuff, but I feel like this is a combination of both the animated film and the Broadway musical together. And I think it works pretty well for me. It's actually a lot better than the Beauty and the Beast remake, like I mentioned in the opening, because it really is. It actually improved on stuff and did so much better job. Actually, hold on, who directed the... I forget so much, huh? Who the hell directed this? It does not tell me who directed this. Oh man, I can't remember. Tell my future self in the thing will tell me. Like, Aladdin handled the remake better than this so much. Like, yes, they were told Aladdin, but they actually added stuff that worked. This tried adding stuff that didn't work. Like, again, I really want to talk about this film in the future. Unless you still are Patreon to me and you want to donate to the tier, you can ask to request me. You can do that. But overall, for me, I enjoyed this film. I cannot wait for Lion King when it comes out practically next month. Oh my god, we're in June right now and it'll be out in July next month. Oh dear god. But that's all I have for you to say for this video. If you want to help support the show, become a Patreon today at patreon.com/TimeProductions, as I just mentioned just a moment ago. You can see videos ahead of time. You can see webcomic pages on my upcoming webcomic, The Monster Homebrew, scripts and tile cards, and you can even get your name in the video, such as these lucky patrons of Dr. Dizion, Hollywood RiddlePanda Smith, West Morgan, and Kitty Q. You guys are amazing, and I hope we can see more as the future goes on. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm getting more better at uploading on Instagram as we go along. You can also find some merch on my TeePublic shop in the description below, because TeePublic likes doing some deals constantly. Like, I've seen them do it 2 or 3 times a month. If you want to get some cool deals, go right ahead in the description below. Anyway, that's all I have for you to say. So until next time, I'll see you all in another video. Bye.